SBA EIDL Loan Increase Reconsideration. What can you do if you've been declined? Perhaps you are applying for the very first time and would like to get your hands on a done-for-you template you can use to make the process much faster and smoother to get through to the SBA, as well as an alternative where you can get up to 5 million and even up to 2 million incredibly fast funding, whether you got an increase or you haven't been able to. What can you do then? Now, no introduction from myself. Let me get right into this. We're looking at a page here about COVID-19 EIDL, and I want to draw your attention specifically here. Notice COVID EIDL is no longer accepting new applications, but will continue to accept requests for increases, reconsiderations, and appeals. Stick with me. Perhaps you're like, well, I knew that they weren't accepting new applicants, but not everybody does. And sometimes I get asked the question from a lot of people, can I go and apply? No, but reconsiderations, increases, appeals, all of that is on the table still. And I'm going to go through some points here. As of January 1st, 2022, we are not able to accept applications for new COVID EIDL loans or advances. The U.S. Small Business Administration, or SBA for short, will accept and review reconsideration and appeal requests for COVID EIDL applications received on or before December 31st if the reconsideration/appeal is received within the timeframes in the regulation. What does this mean? This means 6 months from the date of decline for reconsideration and 30 days from the date of reconsideration declined for appeal. So two differences there, unless funding is no longer available. And this is what you must know here for increases. Borrowers can request increases up to their maximum eligible loan amount for up to 2 years after their loan origination dates or until the funds are exhausted, whichever is soonest. So before I show you this template, what I want to go over is so many people have been coming to me about being shut down for an increase, declined for this, a reconsideration for that, appeals, and so forth. And I've been recently helping a lot of people understand how to send an email back. But what I want you to know is do not give up. So I'm going to show you in a moment how you can send an email. But what you should be doing just about every week or every other 2 weeks is getting in contact with them, trying to give them a phone call to customer service and asking about your file if it's gone through. And here's a number you can call as well. And there is another one down here as well for additional information, and then the email. But I'm going to show you a different email to get a hold of them in a moment. But don't give up. Don't say, yeah, I just put in a reconsideration. I applied for an increase and now I'm waiting this amount of time. What I would do is periodically check in with about once per week, once every 2 weeks. And I know if you've been declined, you may want to do it over and over, but get a hold of customer service. And I'll show you a few emails you can do this with the Done For You templates. So I have a template here, and I'm going to leave this down below in the description. And I've also made a separate video on full reconsiderations that you may want to check out down below. But this is very simple. Up on the top right here, it's very professional and it works extremely well. So you want to put your name followed down by your business name, your business address, city, state, zip code, excuse me. And then the dates being submitted. And then over here, we have things like U.S. Small Business Administration, who you were addressing it to, Disaster Assistance Processing and Disbursement Center, excuse me, and then some part of the addresses there. And delivered by email to, and then PD recons at SBA.gov. That's where you want to send it to. And there's another one you can send it to here. It is pdc.reconsideration at SBA.gov. So you want to send it to one, and then you want to send it to the other one. So it is PDC recons at SBA.gov, excuse me. And then the other one is going to be pdc.reconsideration at SBA.gov, which I have on notes here. I put it in a little piece of paper so I can remember it. So that's what you want to do. And there is no exact reason why I've seen that with the other email address, which is the one I just mentioned, pdc.reconsideration at SBA.gov, but in some cases they process it much faster. So what I would do is send it to this one first, send it to pdcrecons at SBA.gov, and then you can send it to the other one, which is pdc.reconsideration at SBA.gov. For some reason they're not very open about why they do that. But we just know that there's so many people who keep sending these reconsiderations through appeals and all this happening, declines. And the reason you've been declined, that's another thing that they look at, and they have to go even more extensive into the file depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes it may take a little bit longer. I know I've had people, there's a lot of reasons, but sometimes it can be you're just ineligible because they can't verify the identity. Perhaps you have multiple owners, or perhaps you don't own a certain property, it's not underneath your name. And so they're not able to give you an increase because they can't verify that information, some type of proof, and a type of ownership, the percentage. And there are a lot of reasons why, but this is what you can do. Subject, if you've already applied for an increase and you've been declined and you're going through the reconsideration, you can put the original subject line of the first time you requested an increase and it didn't go through, perhaps. But if you do not have that, or another way you can do this is subject EIDL loan increase reconsideration for application and then your number. And then you could put, Dear U.S. Small Business Administration, I am respectfully requesting an increase. Here, let me put this with you. An increase reconsideration for my SBA EIDL loan modification request for application, and then the number there for business. Sometimes you may have multiple ones, so you could put businesses and then list the two. The application was denied due to, and then you would walk into it. A lot of people have expressed to me why they've been declined, and this is where you want to put that and be specific. Usually 3 to 4 sentences does it. Don't be any shorter than that. But state the nature of why you were declined. And for example, I've been declined I was claimed ineligible because it couldn't verify ownership, and you go a little bit more and you be specific about it. And a little bit more will go a long ways, and not being brief. I believe I should be eligible for the EIDL loan increase modification, or you could just leave it as EIDL loan modification because you already stated it's an increase. Since we received the original EIDL loan, have provided all required 2019 and 2020 tax returns that meet all other business eligibility requirements. Is a loan officer able to get in touch with me so I can provide any outstanding items that may be necessary for reconsideration and approval? So we can put for increased reconsideration and approval. Thank you. And I wanted to leave it out, some of the little pieces out, so I can go through this with you and show you what maybe adjustments we can put. So thank you for your assistance, and please don't hesitate to get in touch with me directly by phone, and you can list that there, or by email. You would want to put it there. Looking forward to hearing back, and thank you again for your help. Best regards. Put your name, your business name, your application number, your phone number, and your email number. So up here, I want to draw your attention to the email. Please have a professional one. Don't have it be like @gmail.com. The more professional it is, the more they will look at your file and think, okay, this is a serious application. And then with your reasoning behind that, and then also you can even state like what percentage are you trying to use your increase for, right? A lot of people will tell me they're trying to use it for just survival money, and then maybe another percentage of that will go into an expansion or growth. So that pretty much is the gist of it. I'll leave this down below in the description. If you need help from myself, customizing this for you, probably, telling you where to insert this and that, which I do for people as well, you can get a hold of me down below. As well as if you need help, you can get my email down below. I'll leave that and other resources for you. But now I want to draw your attention to what is an alternative solution if you cannot get an increase. Perhaps you've been declined, you already submitted a reconsideration and all this process, or perhaps you're getting it, but you're not getting enough, or something's happening in the process, it's just taking too long. And I get this all the time. People asking me, what are my alternative options out there? And it depends from person to person. So you may be different than another person. You may be one, have better funding details. Perhaps you're doing better revenue-wise like this. Perhaps you have this credit score. Perhaps you're doing this amount. And so some other options open up, unlike another person who would be more limited. But the fastest way to know what you can get approved for, what is your best option and options, is to submit a questionnaire like this that I will leave for you down below in the description, which plenty of people go through to get a personalized and customized response for your best funding option and options. Plus, you're going to get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding faster. So you're not wasting time. We're talking about days, weeks, months, and even years of sifting through old, outdated information, trying to figure out what you must know before you walk into an application with 110% confidence and certainty that you will be approved. This will help you out. This is current and most up to date. Nobody else is showing you this. And this is going to give you the edge when you walk into not only the SBA, but anywhere else. Alternatively, okay, That's what the application is going to be like. That's what it'll look like. It's online like this. I need this first before I go and apply. You're going to get all of that and a lot more. So it's a simple questionnaire. It's not an application. So what happens is you submit this specifically with your details, and it is confidential between you and I. I will then get it through my email, specifically Gmail for the most part, and I will analyze, evaluate your response, and then I will carefully email you back with a very thorough response on your best funding option and options, very much broken down into qualifications, how it works, the numbers, comparisons, extra bonus tips and extra bonus material, professional tips that you wouldn't hear elsewhere. And I'm going to give you a conclusion, my number one recommended thing to do, how to follow forward. If you don't even qualify for something at the moment, I'll still show you those options. And it's unlike anything else out there. It's unlike going to these other online marketplaces where they just show you options automatically. They might not give you the best one. Sometimes they do, but they don't show you everything that's in the best interest for you as a human being. They don't show that, right? I take the time to get to know you as a person first and then business second, and that'll show. So this will be very thorough and broken down. As a business loan broker, as a loan broker and slash agent, I've been able to do this for many different people of all types of industries, of all types of situations, for whatever it is you're looking for. I'm going to match you with the right thing, and I'm going to break it down very thoroughly, unlike other places that don't do it very well. So you can see this information is there, how it works. The page will look like this more or less. Maybe it'll be modified in time, but this is what you would expect more or less to look at. So that'll be down below for you to get in contact with me. This will be the fastest way to do things for not only looking at an alternative to the SBA EIDL, but everything else, right? This will show you everything you need to know. If you have any questions, I will be able to answer them. Now, what is an alternative? You have the SBA 7A loans. You also have the SBA 504/CDC loans, where you can use this as working capital. You can even use it to purchase an existing business, some form of real estate to a degree, and for other uses like equipment and so forth. So it's similar to what you would use for an EIDL loan. A lot of people, they request EIDL loans because they need it as survival money. The majority of people, and this is statistically proven, that over 50% have been using it for survival money. It's as for payroll, for making, paying your bills on time, for paying off some debt, from going through the debt consolidation phases, and a lot more things that you're just trying to keep your business afloat. Maybe you're trying to hire on some new staff, and perhaps you're using a percentage of that for that survival purpose, and then another one you're using it for expansion and growth. So there's a lot of things you can do with that, but a lot of the cases it's for survival money, and we know that the interests are low. What I want you to know, that when you go into like an SBA 7A, it can more or less be the same interest, maybe a little bit higher, 5 to 7, 4 to 8. It can depend on all that and some of the SBA loans that we're looking at. But the 7A is a great one, and I'll leave more information of this down below in the description to see if you can qualify for it. But there are different ones like the SBA 7A Standard, the Express, the small SBA 7A, what you need to apply for, how can you use this for long and short-term working capital, revolving funds based on the value of existing inventory and receivables, the purchase of equipment, machinery, furniture, fixtures, supplies, or materials, the purchase of real estate, including land and buildings, the construction of new building or renovation and existing building, establishing a new business or assisting in the acquisition, operation, or expansion of an existing business, refinancing existing business debt under certain conditions. And there are a lot more things to look for. Are you eligible? Operate for profit? Be considered a small business as defined by the SBA, be engaged in or propose to do business in the United States or its possessions, have reasonable invested equity, use alternative financial resources, including personal assets, before seeking financial assistance. And I'm going to show you something else on top of that. Be able to demonstrate a need for the loan, not just be this person who does very well and then you're just trying to get this. When you have other options, you just have to demonstrate a strong use for it. Use the funds for a sound business purpose, not be a delinquent or any existing debt obligations to the U.S. government. Some businesses may not qualify for that, and you can read about that down below. So we got to see a little bit what it's used for financial help for small business with special requirements. The maximum loan amount is for $5 million. Key eligibility factors are based on what the business does to receive its income, its credit history, and where the business operates. Your lender will help you figure out which type of loan is best suited for your needs. So I can help you along in this process as well. But that's in short. I can go into in more detail, but the content down below will cover that. And that is another option to consider if you can't get the EIDL or you're looking for a different one. But to get the best response, to even know if you qualify for that, because there are things you have to look at, like having a strong credit history, as we just mentioned, usually 680 and above, about 500,000 in annual revenue, show a certain amount of profits in going through tax returns, about 2 years of personal taxes, credit history reports, and all these different things, year-to-date financials, profit and loss balance sheets. So you may not even have all of that as we're talking right now, but you may have it in the future. So that's just one option of many. Let me show you another one. So there's a program here that have helped out plenty of people that I actually just spoke to recently as well, for people who are trying to request an increase. Perhaps they've been declined or they're trying to do it for the first time and so forth, waiting too long, been denied. Perhaps you got a maximum amount of 150,000. On average, most people get 120, 140,000. And you can't go over what you're getting and so forth. And so what I tell people is there's an alternative here where you can get up to 2 million incredibly fast funding within a days of approval, as much as a day to 2 funds deposited into your account. So it's very fast, unlike the SBA, where you're waiting these extended amount of times. Some people who get denied for an increase and they put in a reconsideration don't even wait weeks before they get a response. They have to wait months on top of months. And perhaps probably because you didn't send the right information, or you did, it's just you're not hearing back from them and they just don't want to talk to you, or they're just very busy, which is what's happening right now, where you can come to here and get up to 2 million incredibly fast funding, and even up to 25,000 same day instant approval. Literally, you can even get a business line of credit to apply. So depending on how much you get approved for, I'm just going to take the example of somebody maybe getting approved for 150,000 through the SBA. Once they wanted an increase and didn't get it. Something else is happening here, but you need the funds. Maybe you're wanting 500,000, maybe you're wanting 1 million, 2 million, and you're like, I'd rather get it all, but you can't get it all up at once. Sometimes you can't get approved for 2 million. Sometimes you can't get approved for 1 million all at once. So what I tell people is, hey, can you take what you can get? Perhaps you get 150,000 now, and then you can come back in about 45 to 65 days, or you pay off 50% of what you're getting. You can come back and refinance right away. We can get you another 150,000, then another 150,000. You come back, or 150,000 the first time, 300,000 the next time, and then another 300,000 now. And now you're getting closer to that goal that you're trying to get overall. So I hope that makes sense to you. I've spoken to plenty of people just recently about that, and I've done it so much in the past, and we'll continue to do it in the future. But here with David Allen Capital Link, we will get you the best offer presented to you. So we will go and shop for the best offer. This is what I highly recommend you do to get the best offer presented to you. And I've had some people recently who got approved for like 700, 800,000, excuse me, and they didn't want to take the full amount they got approved for. They took the 150,000, and reason being is because they didn't want to have to supply extra documentation. So what happens is usually when you get above a certain category of funding that you can get approved for, or you are requesting, usually 100,000 or 150,000 and over in different categories, you'll be requested for. Somebody like with David Allen Capital, just your recent tax returns. We're not asking for 2 years of this, 2 years of that, extended amount. And then sometimes we'll ask for, on top of the recent tax returns, the year-to-date financial, so just a profit and loss and balance sheet. So it just depends on how much you're asking for, usually over 150,000, sometimes over 100,000. But that's just very common anywhere, right? We just want to make sure we want to verify stuff, nothing's being fraudulent, everything is lining up. But a lot of people come here as an alternative when they cannot get their EIDL loan increase, or just the EIDL loan in general, the targeted advanced grants, or any of this out there. They can turn to somebody like David Allen Capital Inc. here, and there'll be more information of them down below in the description. I have made separate videos on them and what you must know about it, but you can get up to 2 million incredibly fast funding. And I'm going to show you here just something very quickly. I'm not going to go through it in depth, but again, you can get up to 2 million incredibly fast this week. Funds deposited into your account, you can go and use. Now, what I'm not saying is you're going to get the full 2 million. It depends from file to file. Usually you can get between 10 to 15% of your annual gross sales is what most people can get approved for. With David Allen Capital, we look at getting you up to 75% of your lowest month in the last 3 months. And even we take the average that you're doing into consideration, and then we can get you up to 200% of that. So if you're maybe doing $1 million per month, we can get you 75% of that up to $2 million, right? But we still have to look at the bits of details. And so perhaps we can get you more proof for than you were getting with the EIDL, right? And so what you're getting here is a very fast decision, small business focused, top rated providers. We can work with all businesses, use as you choose, similar to the EIDL, what you're probably wanting that increase for, and all other purposes. Qualification, it is simple. Do you qualify? Time in business, only a minimum of 4 months. Location, can reside anywhere in the US. Personal credit score of 500 and above. Monthly revenue for this one service, and I'll show you a different one. It's 15K plus in monthly revenue. If you're not doing that, we have another one. Over 700 industries have been served. And I've helped out people of all types of industries get approved for this. So we also have an up to 25K today program if you're just doing 5,000 plus and above, but not 15,000 and over. So here you can get accepted with 5,000 plus a monthly bank revenue, a business checking account, 6 months in business, 450 plus FICO credit score. All industries are included. Payment history will earn you more. Receive funds time and time again. Add-on funds are available, and you get a personalized account manager to hold you by the hand. Unlike if you're going through your K-Board portal or you're getting all these notifications via email, but you're not getting through to somebody. They take forever to get back to you. Here, that won't happen. You won't have to feel like this lone wolf having to go through the wild on a cold day, trying to figure out where you're going to get your next meal from, where you're going to go and get shelter in. This is all going to be taken care of for you, and I'm going to be here along the way to help you. So we have that. We also have the line of credit program, and I'm going to show you a pro tip in just a second, but at the moment, we can get you a 5,000 to 100,000 approved for. So it all depends on your funding criteria, and the best way for me to help you with that is submit a questionnaire form so I can show you your best options, what you should do, what you're wanting to use the purposes for. But this information will be down below as well, so you can go and check them out and go and get started with your application. But this is a way to go. You can also, let's say you don't get approved, you get, ultimately you want to get 500,000, but you're getting approved for like 100,000, or maybe you're not getting approved for an increase. Well, you can say, hey, if I get approved for 100,000 with a line of credit here, I can also add the funding on top of that, where you can get, with the line of credit, you can withdraw the funds and use them as you like. It can be revolving. That's what it is. It's revolving when you pay what you withdraw on, and that interest only on what you withdraw on, and it goes back into your account. It supplements the full amount that you got approved for again, so you can continue using it. And then say you want funding up to 2 million, and you can get approved for perhaps 150,000. So the 150,000 that you got approved for over here, plus 100,000, right? Now we're talking. Now we're talking 250,000 and above. Now you're getting more closer to your goal that you want to reach for overall that would help you, whether you're using that money for survival or you're using that money just for expansion and growth. However you use it, you're using that, you can disperse that. And here you're getting, rather than getting the whole long-term thing with the SBA EIDL and all that, here you're getting 4 to 24 months. Yes, I know that is a shorter time frame, but you don't always need a longer term. You may think you do, but in a lot of cases you do not. It's just a comfort zone thing. And yes, a lot of us aren't built to get up to 24 months. A lot of us need that survival money. And we're like, well, I'm not using it for growth or expansion. I just need to survive, and this is going to take me years to pay off. And those are some circumstances, but not everybody is in that. And so this by no means is just survival money. This should be used to fuel growth and expansion. If you're going through private lenders outside of the SBA with somebody like David Allen Capital, and there are plenty of other ones, lenders, brokerages, etc., a lot of it is used for business growth and expansion. It should not be solely used for survival. If that is the case, then we can try to approve you for a line of credit. If you have enough strong credit history and you're going through all of these other things with revenue being met, time in business, etc., we can approve you for that. So yes, we can use a line of credit, hybrid line of credit. There are other ways too. If you're building business credit, if you need help understanding how to do that, I'll leave a link for that down below. What you should be doing if you're a startup as well, recommending building business credit, how you can get access to trade lines, how to build those trade lines, how to get access to business credit cards, how to fuel your business's growth in other ways, not through just getting traditional business loans or alternative business loans. That information will be down below in the description. But just to kind of close this video off, just know, for one, there are these alternative solutions here to help you. For the most part, they should be used for fueling your business's growth and expansion. If you have a certain percentage you're using for survival money and you have a certain percentage of that you're using for growth and expansion, this is something I strongly recommend. If it's 100% over here for I just need it for survival money, then it may be a bit difficult. Maybe your business is just pushing, it's not even, you're just trying to survive. Then this will be probably a little bit more difficult for you to take on. And these alternative solutions outside of the SBA, that's what they are meant for. They're not going to be inexpensive. Usually they're expensive. In some cases, they're very expensive. Sure, this is a shorter term solution, but like I said, you don't always need a longer term. I've had people recently who I show them that there are longer services that they can get approved for. And that's what I can show you when you submit this questionnaire. I'll go ahead and give you a personalized email response on that. And I show them those solutions that they can go and apply for. They have business credit established. Okay, an online banking loan solution will be something down their way. Oh, they have this amount in revenue. That for sure will probably be something that makes sense. But then there's this other solution over here from 4 to 24 months. If you get 24 months, if you get 18 months, that should be a lot of time for you to be able to pay it back. And if your business's strength is doing well, your cash flow is doing well, then it always makes sense. And so what you can do, like I said, like I've had recently, people get approved for a lot, but they don't want to supply that extra documentation. So they take the minimum amount without supplying that, and then they come back. They renew another 150, another 150 there. You don't need it all up at once. Plus, when you request an increase, you're not probably going to get everything you need. So if you get a little bit there, you can get a little bit here, a little bit there. It would help you. And when it all runs out, you can't request for any more increases or you've been declined. You have these options on the table. So all this information will be down below. I showed you today what you can go and do for the increased reconsideration. So I showed you guys this template that I will leave for you down below. Some ways to contact them through pdcrecons@sba.gov. You also have the pdc.reconsideration@sba.gov. A modified template here. If you need help with that, I can help you down below. Also check out the SBA 7A. Maybe that's something you would qualify for, and I'll give you more information. There's video content on that, on what it takes to get approved for. But also what I would recommend you do is filling out this questionnaire. I have a lot of people going through the SBA 7A as an alternative. And even if they did qualify for that, they still are looking at a different one. They're looking at something here like David Allen Capital Link, where you can get 4 to 24 months. We also have 2 to 10 years and some other ones, but those may be more expensive. This would be something that would help you a lot because think about it this way. Yeah, sure, the interest rates are attractive through the SBA, and that should be like a top goal to go for. But if you haven't demonstrated other ways of seeking alternative financing, it sometimes is difficult for you to get approved for the SBA. That's what I'll say there. And I've seen it a lot of times. And so, sure, the interest rates, you shouldn't look at it only as an interest rate thing. Sure, they're lower with the SBA. And it doesn't always have to be about a monthly payment, or it doesn't always have to be about the longer the terms is the better is what you always want. In some cases, it makes sense depending on the project or the project or what you're trying to accomplish. It takes that amount of time. But in most cases, for most people, you don't need that extended amount of time, especially because you're, in a lot of cases, especially with longer terms, way longer terms, the overall total cost of financing is much greater than as opposed to taking a shorter term solution or something in the middle. And so where you could be saving $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in some cases, even $100,000 to $140,000 and above, over here, you're saving yourself a lot. So think about that. Just because it is 4 to 24 months does not necessarily mean it's a bad thing. A lot of people take what they can get, they do it, they're like, okay, good, I saved myself a lot of money. I'm using this revenue in this way because now I've saved and I'm doing it in a better format. So look for this company down below in the description to get started. All my material will be in there. The reconsideration, and so much more like that questionnaire, the SBA 7A I talked about, ways to contact them, get a hold of customer service, try to do it at least once a week, if not once every other week, if you've been trying to do this time and time again. And hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully you got a lot of value out of it. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please voice them for me down below. But again, the fastest way to do this is to go through the description to check out all those resources. And if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. And click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future videos I will be coming out with. And if you got value out of it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you feel like somebody else will get value out of it, please share this with others. So that would be everything from myself. Thank you for tuning in and talk to you soon.